I'm going to talk you through how to work a slipped yarn over short row heel. This is used in the Retro Jubilee Socks design from Coronation Knits by Susan Crawford. So what I've got set up here is a small swatch with 22 stitches, which I'm going to use to demonstrate how this heel works. You first of all work along the right side to the far end of the heel. You then turn the work, imagining obviously you've got the rest of your stitches in the round on a holder. You turn the work. Because we're ready to purl, the yarn is already on the right side. It should be on the side towards you. You then slip the first stitch, and because we now want to purl again, we take the yarn over to the back, pull it hard so that you can see the two strands of the stitch on the needle, and bring the yarn back between the needles, and then we purl along the row to the right place, ready to work a slipped yarn over as we turn again. So I've now purled to the end of the heel stitches. You can see the slipped yarn over at this end. We now turn the work. We bring the yarn to the front as if to purl. Slip the stitch purlwise onto the right hand needle, and again take the yarn over the top and pull it hard so that you can see the two legs of the stitch on the right hand needle. We then knit across the heel stitches until we reach the slipped yarn over on the previous row. So I'm going to knit up until that last stitch before the slipped yarn over. Okay, I've now knitted across the heel stitches and I have one stitch left to work before the slipped yarn over. I knit that one. I now turn the work, ready to knit back or purl back in the opposite direction. The yarn's already in the position ready to purl. I slip the stitch purlwise. I pull the yarn over to the back of the work so that you can see the two strands of the stitch below on the needle. And now, because I need to purl, I bring the yarn back to the front and then I work across the row. And I'm going to carry on doing this, working a slipped yarn over at the beginning of each row, working one stitch less on each of the rows until the pattern tells me to stop. Right, I've now worked a few more rows and you can see that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 slipped yarn overs at the end of my row, and I have 4 at the right hand side as well. What we're now going to do is to break the yarn. I'm going to do that by cutting it with the scissors. And we're going to rejoin the yarn at the start of the heel stitches. I'm slipping them all purlwise so as not to twist them. Obviously, if you're on double pointed needles, you'll probably be able to just shuffle them along to the other end of the needle and it'll be very quick. Oh, there we go, there's our slipped yarn overs being transferred. Right. Oh, try not to drop one at this stage. There we go. Right, we're now going to rejoin the yarn and we're going to knit across all the stitches, and each time we meet one of these slip yarn overs, which you'll recognise because they've got two strands to them, we're just going to knit the two strands together. So get into both of them. That's the first one. Oh. There's the second one. Whoops, there's a row there where I missed one, we'll ignore that. There's the next one, taking both strands of the slipped yarn over each time. And we knit across the plain stitches in the middle. When we finish this row, you'll see that we've got an extremely neat series of turns with no worrying about picking up wraps or which side we're going to put the wrap to. It's ever so straightforward, and all you're doing each time is slipping, taking the yarn over the top and yanking, pulling it. Right, here we've come to the slip yarn overs on the left hand end, and again we're going into both strands of the slipped yarn over each time. If you take them separately, you will of course have an increase, so you'll have extra stitches, so be careful not to do that. Okay, we've reached the end of the row, and if I open it out, you'll see that where we've worked those short rows, the fabric on the right side is ever so neat. It's almost invisible, but yet you can tell that we've worked extra rows in the middle because the middle of the fabric is longer than the edges. When you come back to work the other side of the short row heel, this is just the bottom, it's worked in exactly the same way. When you reach your turning point, you stop knitting, turn the work, bring the yarn to the purl side if it isn't already there, to the front, slip the stitch purlwise, and then take the yarn over the top so that you see the double strand, and then carry on working. If you need to bring the yarn back to the front in order to purl, just take it between the needles. And that's how you work a slipped yarn over heel turn. Good luck.